Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Hopefully, y'all will join us tonight for our post AEW Dynamite recap. We'll be live there on the Twitch, and of course, goes out to the world after that in audio form and on the YouTubes as well. Yes. Special Wednesday during the day news episode because last night at the end of NXT we got a hint of a possible rebrand, maybe some sort of reshuffling. We had a shocking title change, so a bunch of stuff actually happened on NXT is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and that's sort of an abnormality.
It truly is.
This is like last week. We were like, oh yeah, we're gonna put our NXT recaps on Fridays now. Have we done that
Wednesdays.
yet?
No, it's 2 straight Wednesdays where we've done Wednesday recaps of NXT.
Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna talk about all things NXT. We're gonna talk about this first place I saw this referred to was Fightful Brawl Out.
Yeah,
that's the first play. That's clever. That's the thing.
I've seen that phrase going around.
Yeah, that's good. Brawl Out is good. We're going to talk about somebody related around the periphery of the fight having a suspension end and all that stuff. But first, of course, it's time to talk about the best time of the year. PWI 500 came out.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, man! This is when Pro Wrestling Illustrated declares, with no doubt, and no debate,
right.
Who the best wrestler in the world is.
Fucking Christmas come early, man. It's September.
It really has.
Oh, boy. Seems like Santa Claus showed up and gave me the latest PWI 500.
And within the pages of it, head of the table, it's Roman Reigns. Tops the list this year. PWI deemed that Roman had the best year of any wrestler. From July 1st of last year, June 30th of this year. This is the rest of the top 10, of course. Roman at 1, the Rainmaker. Kazuchika Okada at 2, Phil Brooks, CM Punk at 3, Hangman Adam Page at 4, Bobby Lashley at 5, Steve's favorite wrestler in the entire world, Cody Rhodes at 6, Bryan Danielson at 7, at 8, El Hijo del Vikingo, 9, Big E, and 10, Jonathan Gresham. I have a question.
Yes, yeah, I have a lot of questions, but go ahead.
First and foremost, I've seen this criticism on Twitter's ever since this list went up. Where is Jon Moxley in this top 10?
So I guess if you go back to like July of 2021, like he's had a killer run since he's been back from rehab.
Yeah.
But my brain is so smooth these days. Like I don't know what he did between July 1st of 2021 to when he came back. So it was
November of last year that he took his leave to enter rehab, came back in January.
Okay. Well, that's not that long.
And before the end, so their period is July 1st last year, June 30th this year. So he had won the interim title. Right. Before their evaluation period ended, I believe.
May. Yeah, that was in May.
So
yeah,
it was end of June when he won. He beat Tanahashi, so just barely.
End of June.
It was just barely.
Oh yeah. He'll make that top 10 next year. I don't think.
Without a doubt.
He might be sobbing right now because of this, but we can assure you, Jonathan Good, you'll be in that top 10 next year.
I doubt he has it. He gives 2 shits whether he's on this list or not.
There is not a chance he gives a single shit about this.
He cares at all. I know. Okada, of course, he's if he's not the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, he's in contention for it. Phil Brooks here, CM Punk at 3. He had the AEW title very briefly in the span of time. His record is pretty solid, so I guess I don't have too much of a quibble with him being in the top 10. Hangman Page, of course, had the title for a good stretch. Bobby Lashley seemingly always has a championship belt.
True.
Cody hasn't won any titles, but he did have a pretty shocking. Maybe he was TNT. He probably was TNT champion. He was TNT champion during the evaluation period. So
right before he came in.
Danielson, great as he is, hasn't won any titles in that span of time. Vikingo, he's outstanding. He is the current AAA mega champion. Big E We love Big E here
Yeah,
on
he's great.
Going in Raw.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Gresham, of course, was Ring of Honor champion for a good stretch of the evaluation period.
So here's the thing to keep in mind about the PWI 500. I know they have their criteria, and much of it is based in kayfabe, of course, which is totally fine. It's a fake sport, you know. I say that lovingly.
Choreographed sport.
Yeah, it's a predetermined sport. Whatever.
Yes.
You know, kayfabe is an important aspect of it, the universe with which we live in. However, I presuppose that there is no mathematical formula that PWI could provide us to back up their claims that this is sort of the top 10 of what is the best.
Are you trying to say, unlike Going in Raw, which does have a mathematical formula?
Going in Raw math is solid. It's solid.
All right, let's take a quick couple moments here. We don't have to do the top 10 here. Let's do Going in Raw math for Roman Reigns' July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, does that include, let's see here, July of 2021? How many matches? Let me go to cage match here. I'm already on.
All right, he hasn't had a ton of matches.
Roman Reigns. I mean, you got to figure.
He doesn't wrestle a whole lot.
Next year, it seems, I mean, next year is probably still going to be, it's going to be like Mox Reigns, but like Okada, my God, the year Okada's going to end up having. Dude's won like the G1. He's been champion since January. He'll probably continue to be champion for quite a while.
No, he's not champion anymore. Jay White is.
Oh shit, Jay White's champion. Wait, he won.
Jay White's not in the top 10. That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Jay White's had a great year too.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, that's weird. When did Jay White win it? Dominion?
Yeah, that sounds right.
He was champion at Forbidden Door. So like yeah. Because remember Hangman called out Okada, yeah.
Yeah, it was Dominion, yeah.
And then they did the switcheroo there.
Yeah, it's early June.
All right, so let's take a look at a Roman Reigns' Mitch's here, going back 2021, July. Let's see here. Oh, this is a bunch of house show stuff with the bloodline. He didn't really get involved. I want a singles match, Universal title. So, okay, you know what, man? In August, after the period began, he beat John Cena.
That's pretty huge.
That's big kayfabe right there.
Yeah. Well, kayfabe, right, for Roman is 10.
It's a 10 kayfabe. Remember, he had that one match, that dog shit match. It was a good match. It's just the end when he beat Finn Balor because Balor's the turnbuckle fell.
Yeah, that was a crap ending, but that was a solid bout. You can't really blame Roman for that.
And like the Cena match had a story to it. It was Cena just wanted to roll up Roman and get the.
Yeah, it was a weird story.
It was a weird story. Here we go. In September, he had a triple threat because now I'm sort of in the being good territory. Roman Reigns versus Big E and Bobby Oh, that was a house show. Sorry, that was a house show. Oh, they did that on Raw, though. Reigns
they did
versus
do that at Raw.
Big E
Reigns
and Bobby
won that.
Lashley.
I mean, Reigns has won every match he's been in.
Right, so I'm just trying to remember if these are like decent matches.
He beat Big E at Survivor Series.
Yeah, that was probably a good match, but it was probably, the Roman Reigns match at Crown Jewel. Was that any good or was that crap?
Who did he wrestle?
Brock.
I mean, I don't remember much about it.
The Mania Brock match was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I would give that high. He had a good series against King Woods. He had that one match where King Woods technically won the thing, but they didn't call it a win for him. Let's see here. Yeah, Survivor Series against Big E.
I mean, predominantly his matches have been story focused as opposed to.
Yeah, he's not like a work rate guy. They just tell stories there. His match against Seth Rollins, where Seth Rollins beat him, was good.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
That was good.
Was his match at Elimination Chamber against Goldberg any good? Probably not, right? Was that one where, like, I don't know, Goldberg, his knee gave out, and we were like, oh, is it actually out? I think that was against Lashley. Yeah,
that was against Lashley.
But I feel like that's like half of Goldberg's match.
All right, let's say in ring 8. 8 sounds fair, right?
I think 8's probably pretty good. Yeah, 8's pretty good.
Promo, he's been a great promo.
Oh, terrific promo. 9.5 promo.
All right. And then his presentation is really solid. I mean, his merch shirts are generally pretty garbage, but everything else is top notch.
He's a great looking guy, great head of hair. He's got the big bloodline theme music going. He's got like the render.
The giant render that does the ooh-ah.
Yeah, he's got that thing. They really doll him up pretty well.
Let's do 9 for presentation, yeah?
You know what? Let's do 8.5 for presentation because the dude still just wears like sweatpants when he comes out.
I mean, he's probably the envy of everybody in the locker room then for that reason.
That's fine, but it doesn't look good. Or it doesn't look special anyway. People they shit all over Okada for coming out in sweatpants. Well, Roman Reigns does it every single week.
All right, so legacy. This whole run that Roman's been on since he came back in 2020 is the one that people are going to remember him by.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
10, well, let's say
legacy.
You're going to say 10? All right.
Oh, absolutely. This is a huge legacy right now. Are you kidding me? They're like, oh, should we want to try to get this title off him, but not to make him look bad in any way.
I mean, all right now is a good year then. Yeah. 9.56. Almost a 10.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
very much deserving of the number one spot, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, validated PWI 500. Yes. We're not going to do that for the rest of the list, but
no, that'd take up the whole show.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then some. Yeah, absolutely.
And then some. Yeah. So we got some news on some suspensions coming out of Brawl Out.
Brawl Out.
Of course, the brawl that followed the All Out media scrum.
I like Scrumgate, but Brawl Out's more clever.
Yeah, Brawl Out's pretty good. Brawl is pretty good. So. These updates, these first bit of updates come from Fightful Select. Fightful reported yesterday that those suspended, including CM Punk, Ace Steel, Kenny Omega, Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels,
one of the Young Bucks.
No,
despite his name being a Buck, not a Young Buck.
And even though the Young Bucks' last name in TNA as Generation Me was Buck. No relation. So all of those suspended as of yesterday, quote, don't necessarily know how long their suspensions are going to last. Fightful adds that AEW sources are of the belief that, quote, that will remain the case until all potential legal situations are figured out and the investigation into the situation is complete. Today, however, Fightful had an update on that report, stating that Pat Buck will be returning from suspension this week, and noted that Pat Buck was credited with playing a pretty significant role in breaking apart the brawl, breaking up Brawl Out.
I'd be so bitter if I was Pat Buck. I'd be like, I was suspended and I was breaking this shit up. All he had to do was ask the MJF and the lawyer lady what my role was, and they would have told you. I was breaking it up. Why was I on suspension in the first place?
I mean, he got a week off work. Maybe he had special quality time with his family.
Maybe he didn't say shit. He was like, suspension with pay? Count me in.
Yeah.
He was like, I was an instigator. Oh, they said I wasn't? Dang it.
Fine, just 1 week. Brian Alvarez had some more info on the latest Wrestling Observer Live, saying, and these transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co, quote, everybody involved, including those breaking up the fight, ended up being suspended by AEW. Essentially, they were sent home and no one heard anything. No contact between AEW and anybody that was sent home. They were all just sitting there. No idea what's going on, just sitting. As of today, I don't know everybody who is off suspension, but I believe that everybody who was involved in breaking up the fight is now off suspension. I know that Pat Buck is off suspension. Brandon Cutler is off suspension. And I think some other people were called today, and they're off suspension. So right now, to the best of my knowledge, and there may be phone calls being made right now for all I know, I believe that if you were involved in breaking it up, you are off suspension. But if you were actually involved in the fight, you are still on suspension. Again, that's Brian Alvarez on the latest Wrestling Observer Live.
So, yeah, it seems like there are angles to this story that are being figured out. And so people are being released from the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, and you'd think if that were the case, they would be going through the process of, deciding on what is like factually happened. If they could evaluate that Pat Buck, Cutler, maybe Daniels. I mean, as far as we know, Daniels is still suspended, so I'm just putting his name in there because he was there.
Yeah.
The producers that were there involved in breaking things up. All right, we know they are not at fault for whatever happened.
Yeah.
Suspension off.
Yeah. Now let's dig into the more difficult stuff.
Yes.
Who BT triggered the door down? Was it a group effort? Did CM Punk indeed bum rush Matt Jackson's head? As has been reported. Did Ace Steel really bite a dude? As has been reported. And did he
do it to prevent like a chokehold, or did he do it for another reason?
Did he do it out of bloodlust?
Yes.
Did he do it out of some sort of cannibalistic fiend he has? A lot of questions here.
I don't know if that's a lot of questioning for some of the stuff they're going to be taking, but
So, Ms. Park, do you believe that Ace Steel is some sort of cannibal type creature? No, he's just a guy.
He's this guy on a fight that maybe he thought he was being choked out by Kenny Omega, and so
he's a guy who watched too much Locked Up Abroad, and he saw an episode where people were biting each other during a prison riot. He thought, okay, I got some chompers. We make light of people's misery.
Let's sink our teeth into this, Steve. How about this? Are we going to get? Are we going to get NXT black and gold back? It seems like the answer is yes. With the conclusion of yesterday's NXT 2.0 first anniversary, it seems like they said goodbye to NXT 2.0 because the graphic morphed from 2.0 graphic.
Went like a Tron graphic.
Yeah, to like not metal, but a black and gold NXT.
Well,
it's pretty much the same logo, different color scheme, and they got rid of the 2.0.
But there's also it's white, so it's like the background was like black. It had gold trim, like a gold bevel, if you will. Yeah. But then the main front facing thing is white. So it does seem like it's some sort of conglomeration.
Amalgam, if you will.
An amalgam, if you will, of NXT 2.0 with that ugly, poorly graphically designed NXT.
It's color vomit's what it is.
Well, no, I'm talking about the structure of the letters.
Oh, gotcha.
There.
Not the general presentation of the program.
Jackson Pollock shit that was thrown on.
Yeah, there's just too much.
But yeah, so they took like the structure of the NXT logo, sans the color vomit, and then they duded it up with like some black, gold, and white. So it seems like maybe it's going to be some sort of amalgam, like you said, of the two. I had sort of suspected that now would be a great time to do that because NXT UK kids were coming in. I'm sure some people are going to be moving on to main roster. There was a pretty big story beat with Solo Sikoa coming in and taking that North American title off of Carmelo Hayes, which is a wildly great idea, by the way.
It is. Did you notice what the shirt Carmelo Hayes was wearing said?
It said next up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suspect that means?
I mean, I guess it could be a bit of foreshadowing. What if Carmelo Hayes comes up to the main roster to get his title back from Solo Sikoa?
That could be. Maybe he's next up for Braun Breaker. Yeah, for his title as well.
Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV, as we usually do on Wednesdays. And yes, it is Wednesday.
Correct.
Steve and we played basketball today, and while I came up short, we played one-on-one. The result would have been even more lopsided had I had to deal with dehydration.
Yeah, man. And while you didn't have an answer for my lockdown defense today, we do know how to defend against dehydration, and that's by using Liquid IV. See, when I get dehydrated, I get these headaches, these dehydration headaches. And when that happens, I can't be productive. I just got to lay in bed and stare at the ceiling, man. But now that I'm using Liquid IV during and after our games, I've said goodbye to those headaches. And yes, I am totally giving Liquid IV credit for my dominant performance today, man. I'm telling you, when I'm playing the game, we take those breaks and I down some Liquid IV, I feel like $1 million, and I got the energy and stamina to keep going in the third quarter, just like I do in the first quarter, Larson.
Yeah, Liquid IV has become a huge part of my basketball routine as well. I'll drink some during and after our games, and I've noticed that I'm able to maintain my energy levels while we play, and I'm not as sore afterwards. See, Liquid IV is designed to enhance rapid absorption of water and other key ingredients into your bloodstream. 1 packet of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone, and contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. Now, if only Liquid IV could hydrate my jump shot as well it hydrates my body, maybe I would have gotten that win today.
Yeah, man. Well, there's always next week, Larson. So grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 15% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 15% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. There's a lot of great questions here. Let's talk about the return to that color scheme, though. One thing that you and I think have agreed on, although I would love for NXT to return to sort of spiritually the black and gold brand, I would like them to move on. You know, man, they had made such great progress for a spell there leading up to Survivor Series 2019 and even prior to that. And whether it was due to them not being able to break through against AEW in the ratings, and Vince wasn't happy about that, or if it was due to any number of other factors. Honestly, Vince McMahon, I feel, didn't give NXT the proper amount of resources to allow them to grow into a third brand properly. Yeah. They never did. And I really wonder if Triple H really has it in his head, along with Shawn Michaels, has it in their heads. Hey, this could be so much more. Let's take this to those, and let's devote those resources. You know, a lot of people said that the financials of NXT didn't make a lot of sense, that they were just dumping money into it.
Yeah.
And it was a very costly endeavor. And that's one reason why I felt they sort of backed off from the global localization thing. Well, they're seemingly going full bore with that. They seem to be okay pumping more money into the NXT brand, and it really needs a refresh for it to get that buzz back to where it was. And I hope that that's sort of the idea here, because there's been a lot of NXT 2.0 that just has not been very good.
Yeah, it hasn't felt terribly consequential. And there was story developments on the episode last night that felt like, oh, this is finally going somewhere. As much as critical as we've been of Joe Gacy, I thought his use last night, putting himself in Cameron Grimes' match, was actually pretty well done. I was like, oh, maybe they're going to take this somewhere.
Yeah.
Instead, they just had Grizzled Young Veterans attack Cameron Grimes after the match, and Gacy hit Grimes with the finish. But I was like, oh, okay, is Gacy going to try to really recruit Cameron Grimes by actively helping him?
Actions, not words, and hugs.
Yes, and add dimension to his character. It doesn't seem that way. But I was given hope for a little bit. Oh, they're going to add layers to this character.
Crowd was into it.
Yeah.
The crowd that was the most they've popped for Joe Gacy. And unfortunately for him, the way that they have approached his character, the biggest reaction he gets these days is when the crowd chants "shut the fuck up" when he's on the microphone, which is boring. Unfortunate. I dig the performer of Joe Gacy. I really think that he's a good wrestler. He's a solid wrestler. And I think that they have the kernel of a good idea with him being sort of a pseudo Bray Wyatt. They just never have him sort of bite into anything tangible that you give a shit about. It's always the same sort of abstract, we're here to change, and you need to change, and change this and change that. And then he changed one of my favorite acts, Grizzly Young Veterans, into a couple of jackasses. So that was disappointing. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think sort of going back a little bit to NXT and what it could be, you know, one of the problems with 2.0 is that in my opinion, the ratio of new green talent, which was the point of 2.0, was vastly sort of out of whack with who they had in terms of indie talent that you can sink your teeth in. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams have by far been the best thing about 2.0.
Absolutely.
And if they move Braun Breaker up to the main roster, Carmelo Hayes is your guy to lead this new iteration of NXT. And then you go out, and this is what I was advocating a couple days ago, you go out and you recruit, you know, from the independent ranks. You poach a little bit from Impact. You maybe poach a little bit of those tier deals from AEW. Willow Nightingale, I don't think, has been signed to a proper deal to AEW.
Yeah,
you want to force their hand? Offer her a ton of money and see if AEW will match it. You know, and if they won't, because you know how they book the women over there, if they won't match it, Willow Nightingale is a license to print money. A license to print money.
Yep.
There's a number of things you could do with NXT, and I'm anxious to see, especially with the North American title going now to the Bloodline, you know, how they're going to start incorporating main roster as well, as opposed to just sort of somebody coming down, having a quick thing, going back up. How are they going to incorporate it a bit more?
Yeah, is there going to be more crossover from a storyline perspective? Because now that Solo is North American champion, he's member of Bloodline. That's a story in all of WWE.
Yep.
So now you're getting NXT and potentially Carmelo Hayes.
Carmelo Hayes versus the Bloodline. Holy shit, man.
I think it's probably more likely that Carmelo gets called up before Braun.
That could be. That could absolutely be. That could very well be.
I mean, because Braun still has Tyler Bate and JD in the title picture that he would have to get past. And then, I mean, you could have something as simple as Wesley versus Carmelo in the near future. Wesley gets the rub from beating Carmelo. Carmelo moves up to the main roster, based on Melo and Trick attacking Wesley last night.
Yeah.
And then Carmelo's up to the main roster full time, and he's there. His motivation is, I want my title back that you took from me. You were a surprise opponent. I wasn't prepared for you.
Yeah.
We should have another match. And then he gets to feud with the Bloodline. And then whether he wins that title or not, just keep him on main roster. He's ready.
He's 1,000% ready. He really is. I just, you got to wonder, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Because whoever becomes over the next 3 months, whatever they do with that NXT title, I feel is going to sort of inform us as to what direction they're going to go. Is this going to be like the old NXT where you have a Carmelo Hayes type, a guy who's been in the industry for a while before he came to NXT? Is he going to be leading the charge? Is it going to be him, or is it going to be more your Braun Breakers, where you're going to have more homegrown guys, in-house guys, or just a mix of both of them? But I do wonder, the lineage. I think the lineage of that NXT title is incredibly important to them.
Yeah.
And
Braun mentioned it last night in his interview.
Right, exactly. And I sort of wonder if I just think that it'll inform us in terms of what direction
definitely I could see that if Braun loses the title to, say, Tyler Bate.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked because that's where they're going to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Braun gets called up. All right, it seems like they're kind of going back to, we're gonna have these experienced veteran wrestlers who develop their brands, whether it be on the indies or in Tyler Bate or JD McDonough's case, really establish the brand in NXT UK. But of course, I know they're in the indies and in the UK before that. Or they can keep the title on Braun, bring up Carmelo and Trick, maybe Tyler Bate after he has another title program with Braun or gets through the story with JD, and then really focus on in-house development. And then, we found out last night that Oliver Carter is getting called up.
Yeah.
It's the NXT Prime. They could be bringing in more people from NXT UK.
Yeah.
And a lot of those wrestlers have been or have a lot of experience.
Oh man,
outside of the NXT
wrestlers.
system.
Amazing wrestlers there coming up, and that's why I'm really excited to see NXT get populated with just really good wrestlers, because that's where we got before.
I know,
and you mix it in, and I haven't always been Shawn Michaels, obviously, I think your favorite wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I wonder if a lot of 2.0 was trying to figure out what Vince and Bruce are sort of looking for.
That could have been.
And now I'm really kind of hoping that they're going to, because there's been so much stuff thrown at the walls. They need to figure out what the identity of this new NXT is, and where they want to go with that. But obviously, if wrestling is sort of the primary thing, I'm about it. But I also want stories. It's the criticism I levy at AEW. I want stories, and I want well-told stories. In the height of NXT, you had really good stories being told. It wasn't just, after they got away from that, there was that phase. I remember you always levied a lot of criticism at, it's like, okay, well, another 25-minute work rate match. And that was a totally valid thing. Like, those are matches like, okay, this is really good, but where's the story?
Variety.
Where's the story?
Where's the story? Where's the variety?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Because at the same time, it was like, all right, this is a great match and it's going 20 minutes and it's awesome. But yeah, where's the story and where are the characters?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like for a spell in NXT, everybody was just badass who likes to fight.
Dude who likes to fight. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's just go ahead and dive into the anniversary episode of NXT, the episode that they took NXT 2.0 to the woodshed. Kaboopa. Opened up with steel cage match. The Creed brothers
too.
Versus Pretty Deadly. Yeah, this is great because Julius. Who's the stud is Brutus, right? No, Julius. Who's the guy who was handcuffed?
Julius,
right? Yeah, Brutus's brother. He had a great showing while his brother was handcuffed.
That Doomsday Cannonball bit before that, where Julius was holding up both members of Pretty Deadly on his shoulders, on opposite shoulders, on each shoulder. Yeah, and Brutus hits that cannonball off. That was crazy.
They had a Brutus kick out of a spilled milk. Of course, he couldn't kick out of a second one, and that's how they eventually got the win. And of course, Damon Kemp was out there making his mark on this match as well.
Yeah, handcuffing Julius to the cage. Julius was so focused on trying to literally kick Damon Kemp off the cage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was throwing some punches and stuff, but for the longest time, he was like trying to kick out his feet.
Yeah.
And didn't even notice that he got handcuffed to the cage. And yeah, Brutus tried his damnedest to get the win, but in the end, he eats a bunch of shots against the cage, and then pretty deadly hits spilled milk for the second time to get the win. After that, we're backstage. Von Wagner, Wesley, and Joe Gacy are awaiting the results of the vote of who's going to face Carmelo later. Wesley wins. He's talking about how grateful he is, but winning this vote comes with the responsibility. Now he has to walk out as a new North American champion. And so Gacy just looks at him and says, I accept the results of this vote, shakes his hand. Wesley leaves, and Gacy says, it's okay. There's more important work to be done tonight.
Yeah, he was like, this L doesn't matter. Like, Von Wagner immediately stormed out. He was really hoping to win this vote, and I'm like, why would you think that you're going to win this vote?
I know.
Like, you're nobody likes you.
I mean, Von, you probably finished last.
I'd be shocked if more than Robert Stone gave you a vote. After that, we had a NXT 2.0 year in review video. And then we had a Lash Legend versus Fallon Henley. This match took all of about 45 seconds or so.
It was pretty quick, yeah.
Really fast match this was, yeah. So Henley ducks a pump kick from Lash Legend, hits a wheelbarrow bulldog, follows with a running kick to get the win.
Yep. Then we're backstage. Yulisa Leone walks out of the trainer's room with a knee brace. Trainer has informed her she's going to be out 9 months. She's got a knee injury. And so Sangha says, let's turn this bad news into something positive. Says to Valentina Feroz, it's your time now.
Yeah.
And so then Robert Stone and Von Wagner walk in, and Stone is complaining about how Von should have won the poll. And Von's about to say that it's horseshit, that he didn't win. Yeah. And Sangha says, watch your language.
There's ladies around.
Watch your language. So Von steps up to Sangha, and Stone's like, oh, no, save it. Yeah. Not right now.
Yeah, ladies around. What do I care if there's ladies around? They're horseshit too. That's what he was thinking, Von Wagner. Yeah, he was like, save it, Von, save it. I'm like, Von, you're about to get your ass whooped by Sangha. Sangha's such a good friend, man.
I know.
He's such a good friend. Hey, let me ask you something. What do I have to do to become a better friend, a friend like Sangha? What do I have to do, Larson? What could I improve on? We've known each other since 1995, been friends probably since around 96 or so.
96.
Yeah,
honestly, I can't really think of much of anything. You're a pretty solid
perfect friend. Look at that.
You're
10 out of 10,
really?
My being good is 10 in terms of a friend?
I mean, it's pretty high, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, it's it sounds like a 10. Good. Anyways, after that we had...
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's a good score.
Yeah, good score. 10's good.
Great score. I dare say a great score.
Okay. Well, between
I don't feel like I could be objective enough to really quantify it though. But
like
it'd be a great score.
The person who's most qualified to say what kind of friend, because they're like my only friend.
But like I said, great. You're a great friend.
Oh, awesome. Love that.
We start getting the numbers, and then that's that. People can get upset about that, and I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Never, man. I just look at it as opportunity. Just like Briggs, Jensen, and Fallon looking for opportunities backstage, they find toxic attraction. Jensen, horny, focuses on Mandy Rose, says, oh, man, your Instagram posts and your titles look wonderful. And she's like, what? Stop looking at these. And she says, in your dreams. And he's like, I've got wet dreams about you all the time. And she's like, you need to relax. Put that thing away, man, because his ball's out. And Fallon's like, look, that's enough, Mandy. You don't and Mandy's like, whoa, Fallon, I'm surprised I know your name. You don't talk to the champion like that. And then Fallon's like, you don't talk to Jensen like that. I don't care how horny he is. I'm not scared of you. Fallon's a 10 friend, man. She's like sticking up for her horny friend.
Yeah. After that, we get a toxic attraction promo. Mandy says, I'm back from vacation, feeling good, looking even better. Said I said I was gonna unify the titles, and that's what I did. She took out the two best women in NXT UK history. And when NXT Europe begins, if I want, I'll run that show too. JC says it's fitting that on 2.0's anniversary, the three biggest stars of the brand are here because they are the supergroup of all supergroups. Wow. Gigi says, when you think of NXT, you think of Toxic Attraction. She says her and JC elevated the tag titles and make them the most important tag titles in the industry. And then JC says, yes, Caden and Katana, they got the tag titles on loan, and they're going to prove to Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley that they're toxic attraction, that there's toxic attraction up here, everybody else.
Down below.
So Mandy says, we said we're the baddest bitches in the room and in the last year, and we've proven it. Gigi and JC are 2-time, soon to be 3-time tag champs. I'm about to be the longest reigning women's champ in NXT history. And if there's one thing the fans should have learned this past year is put some respect on my name. Alba Fire interrupts.
Yeah, man. She says, Mandy, you may have unified the titles, but you know nothing about where I come from in Scotland. We don't brag on and on cause we like the sound of our own voice. We let our hard work do the talking for us. And Mandy, when I look at you in your eyes, I see a battle. You see a battle-tested warrior. You see your demise, and most importantly, you see the new NXT Women's Champion. And then she puts her bat to Mandy's throat like Sting, and she hits Gigi and JC with it. Super kicks Mandy, follows with a gory bomb, looks for a swanton. Gigi and JC pull Mandy out of the ring. Man, Alba Fire just fucked them up, man.
I would not be surprised if she beats Mandy for that title.
I agree with you, man. Mandy needs to go to main roster.
I know. Like Toxic Attraction should all go to main roster.
They're basically there already, yeah.
Yeah, I know. After that, we had a Cora Jade video package. She says she came to NXT to make an impact. She wanted people to think she was the next huge superstar in NXT, but she wasn't seen that way. And it messed with her and cost her early title matches, but it all clicked during her match with Natalya. And then she said, I realized that moment I'd start looking out for Cora Jade.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Roxanne, she says, even though she's proved she's a loser. Back to me, though. I'm living my best life. I don't need anyone's approval. I don't care what the locker room thinks. And she just goes talk a bunch of trash about basically everybody in the women's locker room, women's division.
Yeah. So then we get a Wendy Chu interview. I wonder if they're going to have Wendy Chu go back to Tien Shaw.
Why?
I don't know. Because like that was a Triple H thing before they went to 2.0 and they rebranded her. You know, I still like the idea that it is the same person.
Yeah, that's something that
wouldn't that be cool?
That she could like turn on or something that comes out of her or something like that. Yeah,
boy, that'd be sick. Yeah. Anyway, so she says Cora's just jealous of Roxanne. She's living in her own world and she's jealous of Roxanne. She's iced everybody out, and then she's interrupted by a Lash. She's not very happy about that match and how it went down. She says, well, you're not going to interrupt me in my interview. She said, the last time somebody tried to come after me, she had her lights turned out. Talk about Tiffany Stratton.
Indeed. Earlier in the day, Quincy Elliott arrives at the Performance Center in advance of a debut match.
Yeah.
Quincy Elliott versus Sean Gallagher. This was short. Quincy hits an uppercut and follows with, I believe, Yokozuna's old finish.
Man, this was fucking rad. I didn't know what to think about Quincy, like in the lead up packages and stuff. I was like, I don't know. But the suit, like the sort of Stardust type suit, was fucking awesome. His music was fantastic. It fit him so perfectly. The little dance he did with the ref afterwards. I thought
that was good.
I thought this dude really has it put together in terms of his character in the ring, and he was a lot of fun. Like I thought, I popped hard for this, and I popped hard for Seth Rogen later on in his debut.
Oh, hey, Hank Walker.
I thought that shit was great, man. I thought that was really cool. But no, Quincy Elliott, this match was a lot of fun, and this dude, he does have tons of charisma.
He does,
and it really comes out in the ring. So yeah, I dug this. I have no idea what his ceiling is or where he's going to go from here, but I like this first match. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it showed a lot of promise, and the presentation aspect of it is fantastic.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
After that, we had a Cameron Grimes interview. He says he's got a tag match against Tony D'Angelo and Stax, and he's asked, who's your partner? He says, this isn't the first time my mouth has gotten me in trouble, and it won't be the last. I told Joe Gacy I didn't need him, so why would Tony D'Angelo think I would need them? He says his partner tonight's be the only man he could really trust out there, and that's Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes.
Whether I'm a man up or a man down, I'm the man who's going to the moon.
He needs more realistic expectations.
Yep.
He's not going to the moon, man. He needs
nope.
His flight has been delayed.
His rocket grounded.
I'd be shocked if he made it to like the lower atmosphere, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the different stratospheres are.
They all have names, though.
They all have names. I'm headed to the
Toposphere.
Toposphere. Toposphere is one of them. Ow, my shoulder hurts from today.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, dude. Anyways, after that, Wesley is warming up in the locker room. Oh, man, on site, Mello and Trick step in. And he just annihilate this fucker.
Yeah.
They slammed his head in the locker room door, man. That was rough.
They did repeatedly.
Yeah, man. Ooh, that was rough. Poor Wesley. He's had a rough year, man.
He has.
Yeah, if the PWI 500 was like how good of a year you've had, he'd be like 501. Anyways, after that, we had Tony D'Angelo and Stax in handicap match against Cameron Grimes. And the crux of this match was Cameron's having a hell of a time fighting two people. And so Joe Gacy and the grizzled young veterans come to ringside. Gacy gets on the apron in Cameron's corner, and people are like, oh, man, he's actually going to do something other than hug this guy. And so he's looking to tag in, and eventually they get it. They got the win. But Grimes is like, hey, I don't need you. What are you doing? Because Gacy, like, hugged him. And then Grizzled Young Veterans is like, all right, fuck you, bro. And then they attack him, hit him with a Ticket to Ride. Do they have a new name for that finish?
As far as I know, it's still called Ticket to Ride.
And then Gacy follows with the finish, with his finish. And then he tells Grimes, that was your last chance, man. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you were about to get your ass handed to you. If you don't want this help, then I'm just gonna beat you up a lot.
Yep. Then we got a JD McDonough promo while he's getting the shave.
It's like the old timey thing where you go to the barber shop.
Yeah, it's the straight razor. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So he's talking about how like hygiene is of paramount importance.
I like to wipe my ass properly.
The person or something like that, and then the barber accidentally cuts him a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he brings his hand up to where it's like on his neck. Mm-hmm. And he looks at it, and there's blood all over the place. And he says, "Braun, you may have thought that you slipped my mind, but you're sadly mistaken. This cat and mouse game is going to end soon." And he looks at the blood again.
This dude was weird.
And then we had this Braun Breaker year in review interview.
Good Lord. This is like a performance review for Braun Breaker. This thing
really was
so fucking long.
Like Vic Joseph, I didn't know he was Braun's manager.
Right,
Pat him down. I was like, all right, so for your first match, how'd you feel? Well, I was scared and nervous. Of course I was.
Yeah. Yeah, because I came out of college. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And then I came here, dominated, and started breaking everything.
So then did you think you were going to your first title shot?
No. I knew it.
But I didn't.
But I didn't win it, and then I did it later on, then I lost it, and then I got it back again. Yeah. A first time in my family won a WWE singles title. They don't care about WCW. That was my uncle. He won that.
Yeah. In the end, he says, I don't know what my future holds. I'm very much in the present. My job as champ is to uphold the standard set by champs before me.
Nobody tells me anything, or maybe they do. I got locked out of my email. Now I can't get in the employee email for WWE. The talent app they've got, I locked out. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Am I supposed to go to main roster? I don't know.
Forgot my password. Tried 5 times. They locked me out.
I tried it 5 more times. It locked me out for 3 years. That fucking Apple one. It's like, oh, man, my kid just locked my phone for 23 years. Because if you keep on trying, it adds like exponential time.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That is crazy.
Anyways, after that, we had a Tyler Bate interview. I did not even know this existed. I fast forwarded.
Oh, really? So he says, Braun's had an incredible first year, but I'm looking for a rematch. And he says, a familiar face in JD McDonough stands between me and my divine purpose.
Jesus.
He says he and JD have history. And if JD wants to shot the NXT title, he's got to get through me first.
Man, NXT, they need more UK guys like Gallus who are just like your normal UK people who just like drink pints and shit, you know? It's like you got Tyler Bate, this fucking Zen guy who talks about his divine purpose. And then you got that psychopath JD McDonough who likes blood.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bunch of weirdos coming in, man.
At least, with Tyler Bate, for the longest time, he was just like really good wrestler.
Yeah, that
was his character.
Yeah.
Now he has a character.
Yeah, now he's a guy you don't want to sit next to on the bus because he'll just bore you with his Zen shit. Or he's a chef the way he dresses. It's funny because Triple H's thing was like, I want guys who look like they could throw. I'm like, Tyler Bate doesn't really look like he can throw. He can. He's in the ring.
Yeah,
and he's
he can.
a badass.
In the ring, he looks like he can. But I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
He always has that same shirt on. That I don't know what the style of that is. It's got the single button up here.
Yeah, he just had like a T-shirt on this interview.
Oh, did he? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he had a different shirt on.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad he got a different shirt. Anyways, after that, we had Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. They're still a tag team. That's kind of surprising.
Apparently.
Versus Ariana Grace and Kiana James. And then, of course, Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark get the win here. Stark hits her finisher, tags in Lyons, hits that spin kick, and then does the thing where she teabags him for the win.
Yeah. So then we're in the parking lot, and Malik Blade and Idris Enofe are talking to someone in a red hoodie.
Okay, so this is the second week we've seen this person in a red hoodie. What the fuck is this? What's going on here?
It seems like this person in the red hoodie is trying to convince them to vote for Joe Gacy for Superstar of the Year because they're saying they're not going to do it, especially after they did what they did to Cameron Grimes.
Yeah. So it's like a Joe Gacy person. Seems like NXT super fan of Joe Gacy.
Maybe. So then grizzled young veterans walk up to them, said, Grimes had it coming. Mm-hmm. This world needs to change. And if you can't see that, we'll show you. And then they start brawling with Blade and Enofe, and then security breaks it up. And then Hank Walker walks up, and they're like, hey, you got a match.
Hey, what's going on?
Don't worry about that.
What the fuck are you guys doing over here? You guys want to smoke some weed? I've got a match. I've got a match up next. So we had a Oro Minash video package. That's, of course, Oliver Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming. Phenomenal wrestler. And he's debuting next week, so that's great. Oro Minash.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting name. I wonder what the etymology, what the origin story of that
that'd be interesting to hear.
Oro Minash.
Yeah,
it's fun to say.
Then we get a Grayson Waller interview. He says everybody knows that he's top superstar in NXT, and Mackenzie says, well, here's the final four for Superstar of the Year. Toxic Attraction, Carmelo Hayes, Nikita Lyons.
Nikita Lyons? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Really?
And then Waller interjects, says, and me, thank you so much. And then Mackenzie's like, no, Braun's the fourth nominee. He's champion after all. And
I
Waller
could think
says,
of like 20 people in 2.0 that would be above Nikita Lyons.
Mm-hmm. And anyways, Waller says, fans suck. They don't know who real talent is. I'm the face of this brand. Braun's been ducking me all year because he knows if I get a shot, I'm going to be champion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. After that, we had Javier Bardal versus Seth Rogen. And this was great because Seth Rogen just walked to the ring in jeans and like
no music.
He's just a dude, but he's so fucking over.
Well, I liked that they explained it that he is here as developmental talent, but since he's not ready yet, he has to work security.
Yeah, and that was the whole story here. Yeah, it was great.
And they even referenced Wade Barrett working security in 2006.
Yeah. Which is great because it puts a story behind all, like, you can go back in time and watch, like, weeks before 2.0 launch. You could see Braun Breaker, Trick Williams,
Von Wagner
as security guards in NXT, like breaking up Samoa Joe and Adam Cole and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, it's cool. They made that canon now. When you're in developmental, you're a security guard. It's great.
Yeah. Yep. Until you're ready to step in the ring, you got to work security. Hank Walker got the win here. Hits the Thez press, some ground and pound, takes his shirt off, hits some corner splashes, and a diving forearm to get the W. Yeah,
this was rad, man, because this crowd was really into it, and he's got that face that, like, it's sort of in wrestler, because I was looking at him, I was like, oh, okay, so he's like basically Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn just rolled up into one person, and just also just all Seth Rogen rolled up into one person. But Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they kind of have that vibe, like you could see them in those movies that Seth Rogen and his buddies did.
Yeah.
But no, this is great, man. This is awesome. Immediately they have somebody who's got like a very likable face. He's got that demeanor that you just know. Everybody knows this guy. Everybody knows a person like Hank Walker. And it's awesome for him. And I love when he took his shirt off. He's just an average Joe looking dude. And no, this was really good stuff. I really like this. Great start for him.
Yeah, it's cool. They're debuting new stars in interesting, new and interesting ways.
The ground up, like the literal ground for this guy. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, we got a Saul Ruka video package after that, and then Braun wins Superstar of the Year. Not a huge surprise.
Yeah, I win.
And then we got our main event. It's supposed to be Carmelo Hayes versus Wes Lee. However, Mello and Trick slammed Wes Lee's head with a lock door. He wasn't cleared by the trainer, so they come out, drop a promo. Trick says they're too good to be this humble, and that's why they're still on center stage. Mello says Wes Lee isn't going to make it tonight. He did Wes a favor. He says, I know dudes like Wes Lee. He's not built for this life. He doesn't have what it takes to be the A-champ. He says, everybody in the back is praying for my downfall. And you got people coming from different brands, foreshadowing there, to take what I've built. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and I have the biggest crown and the heaviest head in NXT. And he's interrupted by Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
Solo comes to the ring and just says, I told you, I got next.
Love that. That was perfect. That was great, because that whole time he was just saying, I got next, I got next. And finally he does.
Yep. Trick tries to get involved a couple times. He just ends up getting super kicked off the apron. Mello looks for the springboard lariat. Solo catches him with the Uranagi. Follows with the top rope splash to get the win. New North American champion.
I can't wait for fucking Friday now to see if Carmelo Hayes shows up on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
God, talk about a fucking pit of snakes to jump into. You got the whole bloodline out there. You're going to try to wait for your shot against Solo Sikoa and piss off the Usos and Roman Reigns?
I know.
Ooh. That'll be good, man. That could be really
interesting.
good.
Could be interesting.
After that, we had Shawn Michaels. So we had a video package about NXT, and Shawn Michaels did the voiceover for it. Of course, he's the head of creative there at in developmental and NXT. Mm-hmm. He writes all the episodes on his typewriter. And he says,
he's got a legal pad he's writing these episodes on, man.
He's doing like the computer thing, like in that GIF. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he says NXT is always about developing future superstars, but their message to the fans will never change. We are NXT. And then the 2.0 logo morphs into a black, gold, and white logo. So, yeah, that's cool. Be interesting to see. I mean, is this going to be taking place next week? Like, is this going to be an immediate thing? What's going on with this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nick Khan, can you tell us, please?
I don't think there's been any information about. Although I just saw while Brian Alvarez said that the next premium live event, Halloween Havoc for NXT, is getting the takeover branding back.
Ooh, wow, cool.
So
neat.
Let me check one. So Fightful Select did report yesterday that NXT will have a double taping this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're probably doing that to take the week to do the rebrand stuff.
Yep.
That makes sense. That makes sense now. It all comes together.
Yep,
all
indeed.
Right. Very cool, very cool. That's going to do it for this episode of Going in Raw. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Later on tonight, we'll be doing our AEW post-show recap, so join us for that. And then, tomorrow we'll have the Smash Zone. Friday, another news episode. We're going to talk about Impact Wrestling as well. That's right. Yes. So, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.